Hi there, welcome to this Tuesday edition of This Is Exclusive, in which we are focusing on 3 stories and 3 exclusive elements. First up, Sonam Wangchuk, the Ladakh activist. His lawyer joins us to understand why he has chosen this time to be coming to Delhi when there are prohibitory orders. Also, the second story, Cordman Rahim, his 14th or 15th parole now, and we'll get you exclusive pictures from inside the dera and how it's happening so often. We'll discuss that. And then finally, exclusive conversation with Israel's Consul General in Mumbai about the latest offensive of Israel in southern Lebanon. Let's get started with headlines.
Presented by Royal Global University. Northeast can't wait. Pado kuch pano.
Ahead of elections in Haryana, Congress proxy Sonam Wangchuk goes to Singhu border to test water quality in the garb of climate change, detained by Delhi police. Delhi Chief Minister Atishi visits Wangchuk, detained in Bhawana police station. Rahul Gandhi says detention unacceptable. After Rahul Gandhi slammed BJP for Wangchuk's detention, BJP MP Ravi Shankar Prasad hits back. He alleged that Rahul's hypocrisy has reached an extreme level. Rape convict Gurmeet Rahim gets his 15th parole in 4 years. Preparations in full swing at his ashram. Republic accesses exclusive visuals. After Siddaramaiah, now Gandhi is in a fix. Will Congress also give up their properties in the National Herald case?
Presented by Royal Global University. Northeast can't wait. Pado kuch pano.
All right, let's begin this edition of This Is Exclusive. Delhi police earlier in the day cracked down on the so-called climate activist Sonam Wangchuk and his supporters at the Singhu border late Monday night, in fact, as they attempted to force their way into the national capital during their Delhi Chalo march from Ladakh. The enforcement of Section 163 of the BNS halted the march, but what stands out is Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, who conveniently stayed silent on the Bengal cartoonist arrest, now jumping to defend Wangchuk. This raises serious questions about the timing and motives behind this charade. Despite police orders, Wangchuk and his supporters refused to leave, resulting in over 120 detentions. The key question is why Wangchuk insisted on marching to Delhi knowing prohibitory orders were in place. Why now, just before Haryana elections? It's increasingly evident this is more about political opportunism than climate activism. Wangchuk's comparison of barricades to a house arrest for Ladakhi leaders and complaints of police presence seem like to create a drama. Is this genuine activism or just another Congress-backed ploy to stir unrest ahead of the critical elections? All right, if this wasn't enough, take a look at what this so-called Andolan-Jivi Sonam Wangchuk is spewing. He's doing nothing less than trying to demoralize our brave soldiers, questioning the very fabric of our democracy and launching baseless attacks on the Agniveer program. This is an older video, but listen in to give you an idea of how he thinks.
आपको पता है, मेरे ख्याल से तो आज भारत के इस सीमा पर हमारे सैनिक सबसे कमजोर स्थिति में हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ पर सबसे बड़े लड़ाकू माने जाते हैं लद्दाख स्काउट्स, सिख रेजिमेंट्स और गुरखा रेजिमेंट्स। आज लद्दाख के सैनिकों का मनोबल टूटा है, ठेस पहुंचा है, क्योंकि लद्दाख को न लोकतंत्र दिया गया है न संरक्षण, और दूसरी तरफ सिख सैनिकों का मनोबल भी कमजोर है, क्योंकि जो पंजाब में आंदोलन हो रहे हैं उसका असर उन पे भी पड़ता है। और गुरखा सैनिक तो अग्निवीर के चलते 4 साल को वो नकार रहे हैं, और वो अब उससे भी बुरा क्या हो रहा है कि चीन की सेना में भर्ती होने जा रहे हैं। तो वही सैनिक जो हमारे शक्ति थी, जिनके बारे में ये कहा जाता है कि अगर कोई कहे कि मुझे मरने से डर नहीं लगता, तो वो या तो झूठ बोल रहा है या वो गुरखा है। आज वही गुरखा चीन की तरफ से हमसे लड़ेंगे। तो ऐसा उथल पुथल हो रहा है, मगर हमारी मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया जरा भी चर्चा नहीं कर रही है।
All right, earlier we had our correspondent Riyanka visiting the spot where Sonam Wangchuk was arrested. In fact, we saw indie leaders trooping down to stand in solidarity with the Ladakh activists. Let's look at this report by Riyanka.
The 6th schedule status for Ladakh, Sonam Wangchuk along with 100 others had come up with a padyatra from Ladakh, and they had started on 1st of September. When yesterday they tried to enter the national capital, the Delhi police have detained them at the Bhavana police station where I'm currently at. And at this point in time, we have seen that there is a lot of support that is being gained by Sonam Wangchuk from the Congress party, especially if to be specific from the India Alliance. There were visit from the Chief Minister of the national capital here, Atishi Singh, had in fact come in to visit Sonam Wangchuk today during the day, but she was not allowed to visit him. That is what she had told the media personnel. There are several people who have in fact tried to come in and meet Sonam Wangchuk, all his supporters. But on the other hand, the people who had in fact come in from Ladakh along with Sonam Wangchuk, they have been detained at several other police stations near the border areas, Bhavana being one. Secondly, there are people who have been kept in Narela as well as in Alipur police stations respectively. Now these people are supposed to be released, but that is something that has not gained clarity yet. But on the other hand, what we see that these people, Sonam Wangchuk along with his supporters, they have gone ahead as to an indefinite hunger strike since their detention. Well, there has been the BNS 163 section that has been imposed by the Delhi police across the border, a prohibitory order in order to curtail any sort of protest and chaos at the border areas. But despite that, we see Sonam Wangchuk and his supporters marching towards the national capital and then the detention. These are the views of these are the visuals of the Bhavana police station where Wangchuk along with his supporters continue to be detained, and therefore we have to wait and see what happens next.
Well, Riyanka in fact joins us live from outside the Bhavana police station where the Ladakh activist Sonam Wangchuk was detained. Riyanka, let's take an update. What's the latest? Is he still in detention? What is the police telling you about what they're going to do with him?
Right, since morning we have been stationed here at the Bhavana police station and getting minute-to-minute details. Yes, in fact, till now, Sonam Wangchuk along with 25 others of his supporters who were detained, they are currently in detention in the Bhavana police station, and other of his supporters, 25 others are in the Narela police station. In fact, there were detentions that were done today morning as well from the Singhu border. They have been taken to the Narela police station. Also, there are supporters who are present in the Alipur police station as well. From the police sources, there is yet no clarity as to when will these people be released, but there is enough support that is being garnered by Sonam Wangchuk from the side of the Congress party, which is coming out and open and saying that this action by the cops is undemocratic, that it is a cowardly action. In fact, Delhi Chief Minister Atishi herself had come here to meet Sonam Wangchuk, but she couldn't because she was not allowed to meet she was not allowed to meet Sonam Wangchuk and his supporters who are here in detention. She rather alleged that it is a ploy by the BJP, it is a ploy by the LG to not let her meet these people who are in detention. So for now there is no clarity as to when will they release. But on the other hand, let me tell our viewers, there is a plea that has been filed in the Delhi High Court for an early release of Sonam Wangchuk. A hearing on that note will be taken up on the 3rd of October. So then we will be seeing what happens next, how far does this case progress. But as of now, no clarity. It is likely that the people, Sonam Wangchuk and his supporters, might be released towards around 10 p.m. but still that is not a confirmed information. It is what we are gathering from our sources.
Okay, Riyanka, stay with us. In fact, we are going to be joined in by Advocate Kamlesh Kumar Mishra. He's the one who has filed a petition in the High Court, Delhi High Court, for release of Sonam Wangchuk, and the petition maintains that this is an attack on freedom of expression, freedom of protest, which is a fundamental right. But is the freedom to protest allowed, or under your freedom to protest, are you allowed to break rules and extend laws? That's going to be our question. Mr. Mishra is in fact live with us. Very good evening, Mr. Mishra. Can you tell us what's your petition about in connection with Sonam Wangchuk's detention?
See, this petition has been filed by Swami Gopal Das, who's next friend of Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, and he was in touch with him while he was traveling to Delhi, and at Singhu border he was stopped, and according to us he was detained, and whereafter we do not know as to where he has been kept. Therefore, we filed a petition that he has been illegally detained and he should be freed with immediate effect, and he should be allowed to exercise the constitutional rights to go ahead and peacefully protest. We mentioned the matter today before the Chief Justice at 4 o'clock, and we requested that this matter should be heard urgently because of urgent importance, and thereafter this matter has been kept for hearing on 3rd of October.
Okay, so what if, Mr. Mishra, if the activist is released tomorrow? I mean, do you really need that hearing then?
No, the hearing would also be required not only for the fact that he was, even if he's released, we would still want that petition to be heard because it has got twofold things. One is that not only that he has been detained illegally, but he's not being allowed to protest peacefully. Secondly, the Delhi police has gone ahead and issued a prohibitory order which is completely illegal and without any logic. So that also has to be examined by the court.
Without any logic, that can be an argument, but how is imposing prohibitory orders illegal, Mr. Mishra? And also, aren't you forum shopping? If the cause itself of the petition is gone and Sonam Wangchuk is released, then why do you say that you will still want the petition to be heard? That's forum shopping.
Calling it forum shopping would not be right, because forum shopping is called when you want to go ahead and you want to change your forum according to the reliefs that you go ahead and seek. However, since you've said that if he is released, the petition would not survive, it's not the right thing to say, to be said. If in case he is released and he is allowed to peacefully protest, for which purpose he has come here to Delhi, then obviously the petition would not survive. But if in case he is just released and asked to go back, or is not allowed to enter Delhi and is not allowed to peacefully protest, then certainly the petition would survive.
Mr. Mishra, I'm not able to hear you because I believe there is some background noise or voice that's playing. Can you just mute it, or if there is somebody in the room, can you ask them to not speak so that we can listen to you? There's some noise there. Is that sorted? Okay, fine. Now my question is that he's allowed to protest, but he's not allowed to break prohibitory orders because there is already a situation at the Singhu border, and him gathering with 100+ people there complicates the situation. I mean, there could have been a way found out, and he could have spoken to the authorities before doing that.
Which has to be...
Yeah, please go ahead. Mr. Mishra, I think you've muted yourself. Can you unmute yourself? Yes, go ahead. No, we can't hear you. I think there is some audio issue there. Okay, Mr. Mishra, unfortunately, we couldn't continue the conversation because of that audio issue. Maybe we'll come back to it in the next wheel. Moving on for now, another second story and exclusive element to that. 15th parole in the last 4 years. Can you believe it? Rape convict Gurmeet Ram Rahim, the self-styled godman, is once again all set to be released on parole. This isn't the first time, of course. It's become a routine. Republic TV has accessed exclusive visuals from the Dera Sacha Soda, and the scale of the preparations is staggering. Police jeeps, ambulances on standby, welcome posters everywhere, langar for bhakts, a beautified entrance, all to welcome a convict rapist sentenced to 12 years in prison. Ironically, it seems he's been seen outside those prison walls far more often than he's remained behind them. And obviously, this is a commentary on the manner in which the justice system allows a man convicted of heinous crimes to roam freely on the pretext of parole again and again. Incidentally, also, quite frequently, this is happening in and around elections. This is nothing short of, is it not a mockery of justice? Let's look at this ground report filed by Akil.
अच्छा भैया ये बताइए कि बाबा के इतने लाखों लोग मानने वाले हैं, है ना? बाबा को जो रेप के चार्ज में जेल भेज दिया, तो बाबा के फॉलोअर कम हुए, मतलब उसकी वजह से?
आज फॉलोअर 8 लाख के पास हैं, 8 करोड़ के ऊपर हो गए हैं।
बहुत हो गए। कितने हो गए फॉलोअर?
8 करोड़ से ऊपर।
आप कह रहे हैं कि बाबा के फॉलोअर 8 करोड़ हैं? अच्छा, तो ये जो बाबा को तो लेकिन पे जो इल्जाम है वो ये है कि रेप किया था बाबा ने अपने
ये सब गलत बात है।
तो फिर जेल में क्यों है बाबा?
आप अच्छाई और बुराई की लड़ाई सदियों से चली आई।
हाँ,
श्री राम जी के जमाने में, श्री कृष्ण जी के जमाने में अच्छाई और बुराई की लड़ाई जारी है।
हाँ,
ये सब सिस्टम है, भगवान ने अपना बनाया हुआ है। और ये काल के जो पुजारी होते हैं ना, जब अच्छाई आगे चलती है तो काल उसमें जलता है, फिर वो अपने अपने हथकंडे अपनाते हैं। और गुरुजी ने सबसे पहला काम किया कि नशा और बुराइयां छुड़वाई हैं, ड्रग्स। तो जो
ये नशा और बुराइयां किसने छुड़वाई है?
गुरुजी ने,
आपके बाबा राम रहीम ने।
राम रहीम ने। तो
कितने लोगों की छुड़वाई है? बहुत लोग।
अब जितने हैं 8 करोड़ है, तो सभी की छुड़वाई है।
सभी की 8 करोड़ लोगों की छुड़वाई है।
हाँ।
लेकिन देखिए, कोर्ट का भी तो फैसला होता है ना। कोर्ट तो हम मानते हैं ना, आप मानते हैं कि नहीं मानते हैं कोर्ट को?
अरे कोर्ट का जो फैसला है वो आएगा, थोड़ा बहुत समय और है। अगर हमारे गुरुजी दोषी होते तो बार बार आ रहे हैं, तुरंत वो मिले, और हमारा हर कार्य चल रहा है।
उनको तो 11 बार पैरोल मिली है। तो आपको क्या लगता है, मतलब गलत तरीके से उनको जेल भेज दिया गया क्या?
बिल्कुल 100%।
क्यों? तो आपको तो मतलब जैसे मान लीजिए भैया कि जो न्यायपालिका है, जो कोर्ट है, उस पे तो भरोसा होगा ना। मतलब उन्होंने, कोर्ट ने उस पे ये किया कि उन्होंने रेप किया।
नहीं, रेप नहीं किया उन्होंने।
आप नहीं मानते हैं?
नहीं।
मतलब आप बाबा के इतने बड़े भक्त हैं कि आपको इस बात पे यकीन नहीं है कि बाबा ने गलत किया?
नहीं किया, बिल्कुल नहीं।
बिल्कुल। आपको भी लगता है? आप मतलब 5-6 लोग
लगता क्या बात
है
गलत है?
अच्छा, वो मतलब आप कह रहे हैं कि वो इल्जाम सही नहीं है क्या भैया?
वो गलत आया हुआ, सब इल्जाम गलत है।
All right, Akil, who had that conversation with one of the disciples of Ram Rahim, who's part of the preparations for welcoming the Godman rapist. Akil, you were there on the ground, and I believe you're still there. A lot of preparations, absolutely no remorse at the heinousness of the crime. What more can you share about the kind of preparations that are there to welcome Ram Rahim?
Well, absolutely, Abhishek. If you see right now, we are just standing outside this Bagpat Barnawa ashram. Here you can see the visual of this ashram. But if you will go inside, you will have to walk several kilometers to reach at the main location where Baba lives. So this is one of the key ashrams of Baba, where Baba comes, because on the condition, there were 3 conditions which have been given by the election commissions of giving parole, because this is in just 1 month, this is the second parole which will be given to Baba Ram Rahim, because he's a convict in the rape case of 2 disciples. So what are those conditions? The first condition which has been given is that he's not allowed to live in Haryana because of the election, because Haryana is going for poll on October 5th. So he will not be allowed to live in Haryana. That's why he's coming to UP, and here in Bagpat he will be living over here. Apart from that, he will be not allowed to do any kind of political campaign or give any speeches. So apart from that, if you see, while we have been speaking to some of the followers, because when we went inside the ashram, there were approximately 500 to 600 disciples over there. I asked all of them the similar kind of questions, and all of them were saying that Baba ki koi bhi galati nahi hai. This is what they have been claiming multiple times. Yes, Abhishek.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Akhil, with those details. And friends, with this, we move to the next segment, another exclusive on This Is Exclusive, which is a conversation I had a while back with Israel's Consul General for South India, based out of Mumbai, Orly Wiesman, on the Israeli ground offensive on Lebanon. Listen in. Welcome, Mr. Wiesman, to this broadcast. And let me begin by asking, this announcement is about a limited military operation in southern Lebanon by the Israeli Defense Forces. What do you mean when you say that it's a limited military operation?
So good evening, Abhishek. I think if we have a look at the news and to understand the conflict itself and what's going on, I think throughout this whole operation and this whole war, it's pretty obvious that Israel's interest is basically to keep its citizens safe. And we know that since the 8th of October, we have gotten rockets fired from Lebanon almost on a daily basis into Israel. People from the northern borders have had to leave their towns and villages, and for almost a month, for almost a year, have been relocated to other parts of Israel, and they need to get back to their homes and back to their lives. The military operation now is aimed at keeping, at enabling a safe border and a safe environment for these citizens. So Israel has no interest in large conflicts and a wide regional conflict. Their only interest is to keep the safety of the citizens, and it will have to do, and whatever it takes will be done in order to assure this.
Can we say that this ground offensive in southern Lebanon has been launched to degrade the military infrastructure that Hezbollah has in that territory, and to that extent, this offensive might go on till the time that the missile infrastructure is completely taken down?
Yeah, so as you know, as I'm sure you've heard, the Hezbollah have throughout the years used basically all of South Lebanon and including houses of private people and civilians to put their infrastructure, to put their weapons, to hide their weapons within civilians, and also sometimes underground in tunnels and others. So Israel has to make sure. We saw what happened on October 7th when this threat was from Gaza. Israel can't let that happen again. So yes, Israel will have to do whatever it does, and it take however long it takes to make sure that the area is clear and that there's no more military threat from that area.
Consul General, you might say that you are not looking at widening the conflict, but we have a statement from Hezbollah saying that they are going to respond. In fact, they have, in response to Israel's Operation Northern Arrows, launched Operation Revenge. So obviously we are looking at the possibility of the conflict widening.
Unfortunately, if they decide to respond or to attack again, then Israel will have to make sure that the threat is eliminated. I mean, Israel never initiated this. The attack on October 7th was initiated by the Hamas on their accord, and the Hezbollah decided on its own without being provoked in any way to join. So yes, so if they decide to respond or decide to keep threatening the citizens of Israel, Israel will have to respond and make sure that there's no more threat.
All right. Also, we have had a statement from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking to the people in Lebanon, speaking to the people in Iran, and telling that Israel is not against the people, but the regimes that are perpetrating terror acts against Israel and its citizens. Is it possible that once, like happened in the case of Hamas, once Israel was done with Hamas, you focused on Hezbollah. Once you're done with Hezbollah, their leadership effectively already gone, and now military infrastructure being targeted. The war might move to the Houthis in Yemen, and then ultimately perhaps to Iran as well?
So I'm very hopeful that there won't be a regional conflict, and it won't actually happen. But again, Israel is prepared for any threat. So if Iran makes the mistakes and tries to attack Israel directly, Israel will have to respond. Like I think I made it clear, Israel will respond to any threat to its citizens anywhere in the world. And we've seen that happen from Lebanon, from the Houthis in Yemen, and also Iran, who attacked Israel in April. Israel knows how to respond. It's chosen till now to have a limited response in Iran, but I think the response demonstrated well Israeli capabilities. And if the Iranians make the mistake and try to hurt Israeli civilians and threaten Israel, then the response will come. And again, the whole reason for this and the whole purpose of this is to make sure that Israeli citizens are safe.
Ms. Wiesman, in the context of the operation in southern Lebanon, the UN resolution 1701 is also being talked about. You think that that's any impediment in any manner?
I think that if the UN resolution had been implemented to begin with, we wouldn't be in this situation today. And I think that's the diplomatic solution that we're all hoping for. The UN resolution already foresaw the problems that we were having, understood that the UN resolution took into account the threat that Hezbollah was posing on Israel, and that was the diplomatic solution that was found. Unfortunately, it wasn't implemented. If it was implemented, then it would have prevented this whole situation to begin with. And so I'm hoping, and I think Israel is hoping, that this will be implemented, and that will be the best outcome right now for the immediate outcome. Hopefully, in the future, there'll be a more permanent outcome, because, like you said before, Israel has no problems with the citizens of Lebanon, has no problem with the citizens of Iran. We hope that they are able to thrive in Iran, in Lebanon, and they can do this if they have a regime, a democratic, stable regime, which loves the people more than it hates the enemies, or what they perceive as enemies. So when that happens, that'll be the real stability, long-term stability that we're looking for.
My last question to you, ma'am, with effectively entire Hezbollah leadership gone, effectively entire Hamas leadership gone, if negotiations have to take place on ceasefire, whom would you be talking to?
It really depends. I'm hoping it really depends what happens, and right now we know that Iran is the puppeteer of all these organizations. So it really depends how things develop. Hopefully, the Lebanese government will be able to also contain some more Hezbollah. Maybe they will have a stronger hold in Lebanon, and that will make things much easier, because then there'll be a sovereign government who's able to control the situation and to speak. And in Hamas, we're hoping that there is some kind of other solution once the hostages are returned safely, and we can find a solution with them as well.
All right, if hostages are returned, maybe a solution can be found. Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Wiesman, Consul General of Israel for South India from Mumbai. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Presented by Royal Global University. Northeast can't wait. Pado kuch bano.
Big impact of Republic Kannada expose. Karnataka Chief Minister's wife makes a big admission of guilt as she offers to return the high-value plots after FIR against Siddaramaiah in Muda scam. After Siddaramaiah, now Gandhi is in a fix. Will the Congress also give up their properties in the National Herald case? As the final phase of elections come to a close in Jammu and Kashmir, 65.48% voter turnout till 5 o'clock in the evening. Bengal junior doctors resume total cease work, demanding safety, security, protest resume as doctors say their demands haven't been met. Ahead of elections in Haryana, Congress proxy Sonam Wangchuk goes to Singhu border to test water quality in the garb of climate change, detained by the Delhi police. Govinda, after bullet wound due to misfire, sends audio message from hospital, but his statement just does not add up.
Presented by Royal Global University. Northeast can't wait. Pado kuch bano.
Big statement really coming in from the Israeli Defense Forces where they claim that just like the Hamas, Hezbollah too had plans to carry out yet another October 7th style massacre. Hezbollah in fact planned a rerun of the October 7th style massacre. This is an admission made by the IDF. Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, who spoke to the media a short while back, has made this big disclosure. This at a time when limited invasion being carried out by Israel on the northern border. In fact, Israel a while back maintained that the operation is still underway. Even after the killing of Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah, Israel essentially indicating that the entire military infrastructure of Hezbollah is yet to be completely decimated. We'll try and play out that response coming in from the IDF, where they're making this big disclosure about Hezbollah's plan to conquer the Galilee. In fact, this was another attempt that was made 7th of October style massacre. This is what the Israeli Defense Force had to say a short while back.
On October 8th, the Hezbollah terrorist organization in Lebanon launched an unprovoked attack on Israel. Hezbollah chose to join the war that Hamas started on October 7th with their brutal massacre in southern Israel. Since then, Hezbollah has fired over 9,500 rockets at Israeli homes, families, and communities, forcing 60,000 Israelis to evacuate their homes. Hezbollah has openly declared that it plans to carry out its own October 7th massacre on Israel's northern border, but on an even larger scale. They call this plan Conquer the Galilee. For years, Hezbollah has been planning to do in northern Israel what Hamas did in southern Israel on October 7th: invade Israel, infiltrate civilian communities, and massacre innocent civilians.
In fact, let's take you through the latest images now coming in from Beirut. What you see right now on your screens as we speak, yet another precision strike was actually carried out by the Israeli Defense Forces. A confirmation now coming in, smoke billowing out from central Beirut, where the attacks were basically carried out. In a short while from now, Republic reporter Ali Hamosh is going to get us the latest report from Beirut. The precision strikes that have been carried out over the last few hours indicating that once again Israeli Defense Forces trying to target the Hezbollah units operating out of Lebanon. In fact, this is what the IDF had to say, while sirens have been sounded out in various parts of Israel too. But having said that, this is what they say, that sirens were sounded out in Western Galilee area. This is after a projectile that had crossed from Lebanon and was successfully intercepted. In fact, sirens have been sounded off in Upper Galilee, Western Galilee, Central Galilee, and projectiles have been intercepted across the border. As we speak, the IDF, in fact, has conducted a precision strike in Beirut. We'll also take you through that admission that has been made by the IDF. This is a big disclosure now currently coming in from the IDF, where they maintain that the Hezbollah was in fact planning to carry out a rerun of the October 7th attack, which was carried out by the Hamas. In fact, let's take you through the breaking news now coming in. IDF once again has conducted a precision strike in Beirut. Let's go back to those visuals that we were showing right now as we keep the breaking news. That's the latest visual coming in from central Beirut. What you see right now on your screens as a confirmation came in just about 6 minutes ago from the Israeli Defense Forces that they have now carried out a precision strike. Remember, in the last 48 hours or so, multiple attacks have been carried out by the Israeli Defense Forces. What is also important to point out here is the fact that the target of the Israeli Defense Forces, particularly being the military setup of the Hezbollah. What you see on your screens, these were images that came in a while back when the precision strikes were carried out at the heart of Beirut city. There's been large-scale devastation that has actually taken place. If you go by the claims that have been made by the Lebanese authorities, they say that over